Congrats, more question mark congrats with the win over the Raiders, a team that has been wildly disappointing this season. And, of course, they still have one game to play, a home away from home in Carson against the Chargers, who need a win. And the Pittsburgh Steelers found a way to overcome the mighty Houston Texans, who threw out two quarterbacks, one of which I don't believe I can name today. But actually did lead them on a touchdown drive before getting a concussion. So we'll talk some NFL football. The great Tony Gonzalez is going to join us upcoming at half past the hour. I got my herd hierarchy, and believe it or not, there's a team in the herd hierarchy in the top 10 in the National Football League who is not going to play in the playoffs. But I don't think anyone would actually argue with the fact they should be in the top 10 currently in the National Football League. Talk some Houston Rockets, who lost last night to the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's a little bit of Bitcoin to the Houston Rockets. And we got to talk about that Earl Thomas sound from Sunday night after his team beat the Cowboys, and then he openly opined for the Cowboys to come get him. But before we get to any of that, before we get to the retirement announcement that is upcoming in Arizona with Bruce Arians riding off into the sunset, let's get to what we saw last night or yesterday in the NBA. Stop me if you heard this before, but the Warriors beat the Cavs. KeVin Durant was better in the fourth quarter than LeBron James. And I fully understand that any of us who have watched the NBA for the last 15 seasons understand how remarkable LeBron James has been and continues to be. So this isn't an argument as to who's had the better career. To this point, it's LeBron James. It's not even an argument for who's been the better all-around player, rebounder, passer, all-around defender, all-around scorer. I mean, LeBron is remarkable in a multitude of ways. Like, for a guy who doesn't even necessarily love scoring, he's been a great scorer. He could end up his career as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. For a guy who's not really a rebounder, he has great rebounding numbers. For a guy who hasn't played the point his entire career, is a remarkable passer. He does everything seemingly well enough to be considered one of the top 10 or top 20 at any position in the NBA, outside of probably shooting the basketball. But if we use how you play in the second half and fourth quarter in important games as our guide, if we use the fact that he and KeVin Durant play essentially the same position, and Durant, unlike LeBron, runs two guarding LeBron. And we admit, though, we have not received word as to what happened with the officials who must have swallowed their whistles and have to be surgically removed from their stomachs yesterday. Like, that was a brutally physical game. And even the most ardent KeVin Durant fan will tell you there are some calls that Kobe gets, that MJ gets, that LeBron, who creates contact and does play bully ball, didn't get yesterday. Like, that's fair. It's fair to say he did not get, Dwayne Wade did not get calls. But KeVin Durant shut down LeBron James. KeVin Durant was better in the fourth quarter than LeBron James. KeVin Durant was better in the fourth quarter and shut down LeBron James in the fourth quarter of NBA Finals games. We've had 6 games in a row of this iconic matchup with two of the absolute best to play the game. And when it's really hard to gauge stats, because stats aren't always telling, sometimes it's about the construct of a team, right? KeVin Durant plays on a team to which he's got another 2-time MVP, and he's got one of the great shooters in the game on his team. LeBron James' team is built completely differently, and it's going to evolve when Isaiah Thomas joins the team. So you can kind of throw stats out the window because all you have to do is watch them actually play against one another. And isn't it fair to at least question whether or not KeVin Durant's better? He's leading the NBA in blocks. So the whole idea that he doesn't play defense, okay, if you saw in the fourth quarter when Andre Iguodala wanted to switch onto LeBron James, like, no, I got him. He's even taken on kind of the black hat of being the bad guy in the NBA. Blocking shots better. He's rebounding better. He's leading better. He's a better shooter, a better scorer. And though he's never going to be, nor has he ever been, the passer of LeBron James, he's willing to pass the ball. He's not taking terrible shots. And he's better in the fourth quarter when being guarded by and guarding LeBron James. What more evidence do you need that, at least at this point in time, though LeBron is still in great shape, and as the guys from Undisputed point out, he's never been hurt. Never been hurt. he continues to play at an incredibly efficient clip. Isn't KeVin Durant the better player? Why can't we admit that sometimes there is a newer model that improves on the old model? And if anything, if you actually want to draw a parallel, his game, Durant, his game is more like MJ. He's led the league in scoring 4 times. He was a guy who couldn't get over the hump in terms of getting back to the finals. Obviously, he had to join the Warriors in order to do so, but once he did and he got to the finals, he was the finals MVP. Jordan broke his foot early in his career. KeVin Durant broke his foot in his career. And Jordan, like Durant, was not the overall versatile defender of a LeBron James. LeBron can guard positions 1 through 5. Well, there's not one position to which he'll put you on lock. But Durant can guard the other team's best player, and that's what Michael Jordan would do. And if you want to draw the Jordan parallels even more clear, if you go back and remember, do you guys remember Jordan's last game as the Chicago Bull against the Utah Jazz? Everybody remembers the jump shot over Brian Russell, right? Remember how he got the jump shot? Stole the ball. Got away with what some others would be called for a foul. KeVin Durant is probably the only one who doesn't get called for a foul in that situation yesterday. One was a 50-50, probably more of a foul on the block shot, but he gets away with it because LeBron does play bully ball and because KeVin Durant's a remarkable shot blocker. I thought this was fascinating. I also think there's kind of a realness to him, even though when KeVin Durant brings up Twitter and tries to dismiss Twitter, it's the same KeVin Durant who defended himself with fake Twitter handles on Twitter. Here was KD when asked about those 50-50 calls after the game.
The key defensive play you made on LeBron was out of bounds to the Warriors late in the game. There was a lot of debate on Twitter about whether that was a foul.
On Twitter?
Yeah. Have you heard of it? But did it feel clean? Did you get a replay of it, like in your mind?
It felt clean. It's probably the same play a bunch of those dudes on Twitter probably arguing about in 24-hour fitness that wasn't a foul. So they've been in that position before, but just not on Christmas at the Oracle Arena. So they know if they ain't call it, it's not a foul. But I'm sure if they get that call next week in 24-hour fitness, they're gonna be pissed that it was off, that they called a foul. So keep that on Twitter.
I love that. He can demean and talk trash about Twitter, but he was the same guy who was defending himself on Twitter. As for 24-hour fitness, it's officially replaced playing at the park, right? Like everybody used to grow up playing in Park and Rec I grew up playing at Miles Square Park or 38th Street in Newport Beach, whatever. And KD grew up playing in his community center. Now dudes go play at 24-hour fitness and argue, and one guy calls a foul and grabs the ball and walks to the other end, and the other guys sit there and walk to the other end, and guys are waiting like, come on, man, we're waiting, let's go. Yo, I call ball, check up. That's exactly what happened. And it could have gone either way, and it didn't. But I like the fact that Durant has taken on this, I'll be the bad guy. It's lasted longer. Remember, LeBron, when he switched teams to Miami, he was the bad guy for about a year and a half, and that's what's happened with KeVin Durant. He's been the bad guy. But you have to like the fact that he wants the ball, takes the ball, willing to take and make the big shot, willing to guard the other team's best player, and has made himself into not just an active defender, but he's leading the NBA in block shots. So you can dismiss him because he joined the Warriors and they already had 2 players, but it's also safe to say that it's a really smart decision because it shows you just how talented he is, that because of how the Warriors are built, there's no Andre Robertson, so you're not playing 4-on-5 on offense. He knows no one can guard him, and he knows that he can guard LeBron. And if you want to use stats, that's fine. But the stats that generally matter, what do you do in the fourth quarter? What do you do when you're guarding the other team's best player? And whose team wins the game? And in the NBA Finals, which is when we're supposed to judge people, and going back into last night and Christmas, he has dominated that one-on-one matchup. Don't believe me? The stats tell you. Look at LeBron shooting in the fourth quarter when guarded by Durant. 0 of 4. When guarded by others, a little bit different story. Did he get away with 1, possibly 2 fouls? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and dispute otherwise. That, in fact, is basketball. And the other part is